How does this tank aim? There's no turret, the gun doesn't move. I say tank, is it even a tank? We'll come back to that. Looking at the Swedish Stridsvagn 103, or S-Tank, you might think, hang on, this isn't a big deal. It's just like one of those World War II tank destroyers. They didn't have turrets and they worked fine. Yes, but those vehicles had guns that could move independently up and down, and side to side a little bit. Not as flexible as a turret, but the gun could be aimed to some degree on its own. The S-Tank has none of that. The gun is fixed in one place. To aim the gun, you always need to move the whole vehicle. They designed this very complicated hydraulic suspension system to tilt the whole vehicle forwards or back, thus depressing or elevating the gun. To aim it side to side, you can just run the tracks to pivot the tank in place. This is why the gunner is also the driver. The 105mm rifled gun has an autoloader. One major advantage of a fixed gun, it's a lot easier to build a reliable autoloader. But still a three-man crew. In addition to the commander and gunner/driver, there's a rear driver whose only job is to sit at the back and reverse the tank. Or from his perspective, drive it forwards. In situations when it needs to make a quick getaway. Perhaps a sign that this vehicle was designed for more defensive scenarios. Though the main reason for adding a third crew member was initially, they just needed another man to help with maintenance. But the S-Tank is the only main battle tank that can be effectively operated by one person, if need be. Both the commander's and gunner's controls allow them to drive and shoot. Main battle tank. Is that the right term though? Some would say no, for a tank it needs a turret, so it's a tank destroyer. Others would say yes, it was designed to fill the role of a tank, therefore it is a tank. I'm not going to get into that here. But hey, hit that follow button if you'd like to see a what is a tank video. Or maybe a look at the other notable turretless tank-like vehicle of the Cold War, the Kanonen Jagdpanzer. Lacking a turret, the S-Tank has an extremely low profile. Great for ambushes, but not without downsides. For one thing, it's impossible to fire accurately on the move. On the defensive, not such a problem. On the offensive, it has to stop and shoot. But they put in a lot of effort to make aiming the gun via suspension and tracks as fast as possible, with a very high level of precision. Plus, you know, this was 1967. The stabilization systems on tanks still weren't that great. So even with a turret, you'd probably want to stop before firing anyway. Also the first tank to have a turbine engine. Still a rarity in tanks today, with only a few vehicles like the T-80 and Abrams using one. How successful was the S-Tank? Well, the Swedes never made a successor. They just did what everyone else did and bought Leopard 2s. Because, you know, hydraulic suspension, gun laying, autoloader, rear driver, turbine engine. This is a complicated tank. Very cool, but complicated. Yeah, Sweden was totally breaking up with the S-Tank. Follow for more.